hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, he got the stunner. He got the stunner specs on.
Hey, I got my $250 glasses on.
Yeah,
With lenses, you
it's
can't
about
tell
to
me
happen
nothing.
now.
Oh yeah, hey, all I gotta do is get me some adapt badges, and I'm gonna adapt.
You
All
better
right,
know it. Shoot.
hey, listen, I ain't gonna get the burgundy fez. I'm gonna get the white one. I'm gonna be all out here.
Now you better get the green fez. That's the new one they wearing now. The green one. That
The
makes
green one.
yeah, the green one, the super adapt, but the adapt chamber of the East.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
big
of
one.
the E, the
That's the
super
big dick
bottom
one,
for the
man.
bottom. Yeah.
You don't want them little ringy dink red fezes now. Don't get
Yeah,
that.
yeah. They get the
Don't get
green
the
one.
profit war. You got to outdo the profit.
Yeah, this is the green one. This is the energy. I had a dream. Hey, listen, it can't see me. The fish was talking to me, and pop, the fish
And that's the
told
thing.
me.
That don't you get that old, don't you get them old fezes that we be wearing around here like the prophet? You better outdo the prophet.
No, I'm all right. I'm all right. I can't do that.
All right, so we about to get started in a minute. Let me
Okay.
get myself together. Give me 1 second. They coming on in
Uh,
here. Sorry, I'm late.
I understand. Hey, Pumpkin, y'all finna be eating dinner in a minute, ain't you? Oh,
I
okay.
apologize. Sheik 7 gonna forgive me. We got Sheik 7 in the building. He gonna forgive me. I guarantee you. I know him.
You want me
Sheik
to?
7,
I'll
where
come
you
over here so we can eat dinner. So y'all can have dinner. I'm gonna cut over here. Give me 1 second.
at? Let me get this right real quick.
I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go in the living room so y'all can see what you do.
Let
I
me.
probably can set it up in here. Hey, give me 1 second more before you go all the way out. I had to move the location because it's dinner time.
That's right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. There we go. All right. Okay. Let's do it like that. And we do it like this. Check 1 2 1 2. Make sure all the sounds are right. Make sure the sounds are go.
Yes, sir.
I want to
Oh, the whole bag of popcorn you want me to take? Oh, here, we finna eat dinner. You finna eat dinner. Yeah, you gotta eat popcorn later. I'm gonna get you.
right. All right, hold up. Let me get my charger because I got to go live on Facebook too to talk to him.
Okay, then. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Gotta get an outlet. They sell them green
You
things.
don't know, man. They think Brother Amalgamate just be playing around, man. See, wait 1 second. Let me get this up here right. Get on up here.
Get that green fez demonstration going. Green.
We about to get busy, family. Y'all in the building waiting? Listen, most people be waiting for the hypeness on Moorish World TV. But I'm trying to tell you, this the one way you want. This way you really want to be. This way you really want to be. You know what I mean? On Channel 7.
Get this orthodox. Uh-oh. She's gonna be mad about that. Had to find some juice.
All right, let me get that. One more thing I gotta get right.
Oh man, they should be seeing my address and all. Let me pull this stuff down.
Yeah, you better. You hanging out with Tioga Bay.
Hey.
You got to, as I tell them in Baltimore, you got to get that thing go bang bang.
Yeah.
They can tell you what it is though. Nah, buddy. You're gonna have to find out when you pull up acting crazy. We believe in these things. Yes, indeed.
Hey, check out this demonstration.
Yeah, we believe in these things. Right. We believe in them things that go bang bang. You pull up on me like you crazy, and you think we gonna have some good conversation. Oh, we gonna talk, all right. Man,
Hey,
man.
bro, silly, man.
Yeah, this 2000 something. You know what I mean?
Got my water.
You got
Got
my
my
camera
questions.
right. So family, I don't even care if my camera crooked, because I ain't gonna be long on my Facebook page. But family, we're gonna teach tonight, okay? We're gonna teach a little something tonight, family. What up, NYC? Riding up and working, brother. But I gotta stay dedicated to what I'm dedicated to. Now, I'm gonna tell you this. Anybody on, we teach tonight, family. So work with me. I'm trying to set this camera up properly. Give me work with me. So I want everybody to know that we teach it. So if you see this all crooked, don't worry about it. We're teaching on channel 7. The link is in the on my Facebook page. And tonight, family, if you are interested in the teachings of the Moorish Temple of America, raw and uncut, this is the place. This is not the place. I didn't block myself out with my camera. This is not the place. I'm only going to be a minute over here. This is not the place for the giggle gaggle, although I'm going to be giggling and gaggling. After I tell you, this place here is for those who want the raw, unfiltered teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And the raw, unfiltered teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali is not no spooky stuff. It's not the spooky stuff that you used to. You feel me? All of those spooky stuff that you used to, you know and I know, haven't gotten you nowhere. They haven't gotten you nowhere. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to show and prove on my channel, on our channel, the People's Channel, Channel 7. And so we got some standing questions that we are going to be addressing. The standing question is, from a Moorish perspective, break down nationality, ethnicity, and race. That's one of the standing questions. Now, if you ask 5 Moorish Americans that question, you're going to get 5 different answers. And you shouldn't. You should get one answer. And that answer that you get should be the answer that is predicated from the teachers of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. It should be predicated on the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. In fact, they should be drawn from the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. There should not be no interpretation outside of the foundation of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. You like when you start talking about race and you start talking about whether European he makes race this and that, and you know you got the Mongolian, you got the no. That's where you're going wrong. If you say you subscribe to the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, you've defined what you say you believe in according to the Prophet. No more, no less. Then you work outward. You don't do it the other way around. You don't let somebody give you some fugazi interpretations of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and then you start to try to make it make sense. No! Prophet Noble Drew Ali makes sense from the beginning. All you got to do is pay attention. That's all you got to do. These people that come and try to chop, screw, flip, remix, come rewind, they ain't making no sense. They ain't making no sense. And so tonight, if you are interested, come hit the link on the channel. Come hit the link. Now I'm going to allow my guest Paige L to step in for a minute and introduce himself. Let's go.
Islam. I first and foremost rise and give praise to the great God of the universe, Allah. I give honor to my prophet. Hopefully, it's your prophet too, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Know and understand that we had a prophet right here in the United States of America that manifested in 1886 in the state of North Carolina. And he was a holy and divine prophet.
Is that
I
right?
give honor. Huh?
I'm feeling that.
I give honor to Marcus Mosaic Garden, the forerunner of the prophet. I give honor to my brother man. Hopefully he was your brother man too. Brother Edward Millier, the first Supreme Grand Sheik. But we know him as the GS, the Grand Sheik. Not the Grand Sheik and moderator. Not the, oh yeah, he was the Supreme Grand Sheik, but he was appointed that by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So,
Let's go.
Prophet said it, I'm rolling with it. Make no mistake about it. I give honors to all Moorish brothers and sisters. I give all honors to all Asiatics that's out here uplifting our nation. I want to give a special honor to the brother right here, to Hockenbeck, the GS, the people's GS, for spending so much time trying to help teach people and uplift our nation. I want to give honors to his staff. First, AGS, brother, I don't want to butcher your name, but brother Akhenaten.
You got him. You got him.
Salam Bay. That brother does not sleep. When you hear about his dump, like man, he's on the comments, and he on point, sending the same message that the GS said. He supports him 100%. I love it. I want to give honor to all the members of the Noble Temple, and also everybody who stepped up and became Sheik and Sheikesses. Right. Also, I want to give a special honor to the new. I want to say it. I hope I'm saying the new Grand Sheikess in Baltimore, brother. I mean, my bad, sister Wilkinsville. I think I'm saying it right. I just wanted to say that, and I greet y'all in the name of the tongue. Simply means peace. Islam.
Islam.
How you doing today, brother?
Boy, you didn't hit me with a couple questions.
Yeah.
I'm doing all right. But the way things looking, we about to get some people upset once again. And the reason why we're going to get people upset once again is because we're going to tell the truth raw and uncut. And when you tell the truth raw and uncut, when you read the Old Quran of the Moorish Temple of America, you will find when John was out in the block, on the block, in the marketplace, telling the truth raw and uncut, they ran him up off there. That's what it say. Ain't that what it say?
Yeah.
Let me read what it say. Let me be sure. When John, see, people don't understand this. People like to get caught up. If they don't believe in John or Jesus, they get caught up in the stories, right? And oh, they never exist. He never exists. But the principle they leave all behind, right? And so the principle is this. When John was out there demonstrating, I think it's right here. where John say, prepare, O Israel, prepare to meet your king. They said, man, they try to strive against him. And matter of fact, let me pull it up online. We're going to share this. Let me see. Y'all know about that story? When John tried to get low. Let me see. Why my Quran ain't coming up? What's going on here? What's happening here? Oh, doctor.
Give me 1 second. Let me grab mine.
There we go. All right.
Give me my Quran. Oh.
Yeah, so I'm gonna bring it up real quick so the people can see. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we get the principle of the story. John was demonstrating some raw truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in demonstrating that raw truth, you already know. There we go.
Right here. Right here.
Where we at?
Right here.
Chapter 14, verse 9. Let me share this with you. Chapter 14, verse 9. I'm gonna share this with you. If you ain't on Moorish World, we're not on Moorish World TV. We on channel 7. The link is on my page. Come on and get this lesson. You got a few minutes. Come on, get this lesson. Y'all want to hear me joke and clown people? That mean when they out of order. Come on, get this lesson. So anyway, they like when I do those types of things. They like when I do those types of things. You know what I'm saying? But look, there we go. We block that right there. What's this? Bam. What's this here? No, I don't want to fill in sign. Anyway, I'm going to screen share this real quick. And we're just going to read this because I'm going to tell you what the truth do, man. The truth is something serious. It serves demonstration. It says on verse 9, prepare, O Israel, prepare to meet your king. So I'm out here in the wilderness. I'm saying prepare, so-called black people. Prepare, so-called African Americans. Prepare, Moors. Prepare to meet your king. And we know we're talking about the king. We're talking about the higher self. We're talking about the God in self. We have arrived in a state of affairs where the awakening is happening. And as the awakening is happening, people are going to have visions. People are going to have dreams. People are going to have foresight that they never had before. They're going to be able to forecast. And so while I'm up here trying to arouse the interest, I'm saying, wake, wake, wake. And so this is what John was doing. And so when John did that, when you look at verse 16, it says, prepare, O Israel, prepare to meet your king. He said, again, verse 17, prepare, O Israel, prepare to meet your king. Again, the hermit disappeared. They strove to follow him, but he had drawn a veil about his form, and they could see him not. He did a John Cena. You can't see me. He had to get low. He had to get low because people don't know how to handle the truth when it's upon them. The first thing they want to do is try to strive against you. You see, they want to strive against you. That's what it said. They strove against them. And John just got out of there. So I'm not going to get out of here. I ain't going to pull the veil just yet. I'm going to answer these questions today. So, Brother Page, let's get started. What is the first question from my brother Page L? From the D.
Yes, Detroit. My first question, from a Moorish perspective, break down race, ethnicity, and nationality. From a Moorish perspective, though.
All right. From a Moorish perspective, the brother says break down race, ethnicity, and nationality. Remember, don't try this at home. Get yourself a grand sheik that's qualified, a historian that's qualified to break this down to you. And then once you get it, then you can teach it to others. But make sure that you got it first. Don't mess this up. thing that you have to understand about nationality, it's without a doubt a contradiction. It's a legal status. It's a status. Nationality is not predicated upon land as people think. In other words, when people say, well, the Moors, where is their land? How are you going to be, where is Moorish? We know where America is. Nationality ain't predicated upon that. It's just not. Prime example. See, everything I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a prime example. You see, prime example. The Palestinians in the Gaza Strip have no country, no land to call their own. Anybody familiar with that? Why don't they have it? Because they were living there, which would be considered from a worldview, if to give you clarity to understand what I'm talking about, unincorporated. In other words, they were living there, and the Jews, European Jews, made claim that said this is our homeland. And so the United States, as well as the European Union, as well as the UN and everybody say, okay, this is your homeland. They moved them right in and dropped them in right after, right in 1940, right in the Gaza Strip, and boop. And that's where you get that war that's been going on forever and ever with the Jews and the Muslims. But the point that I'm making is that the Palestinians don't have no land. No, it's not a stateless nation. They don't have no land. But they are recognized as the Palestinian state before the UN and before the world, because the identity has a legal connotation to it, and it's a cohesiveness. It's an organized group of people that are building from the efforts of nationhood that seek to have a land of their own. Most nations are built from organizations first, land second. Another example, the United States, although they was in North America, they didn't have claim to the land. So they organized under the 13 colonies, and then what they did, what? They made claim to the land and said, we ain't paying you nothing, Great Britain. Come take it. And that was called, what was that called? Come on. The Declaration of Independence. We are becoming independent of you. We ain't giving you nothing. How about that? You see what I'm saying? So before we start talking about land, and before we start talking about all of these things, court cases, filing paper, what is the first step for nationality? Organization. That's the first step. The people must come together first and organize for a collective effort to be intentful and moving in one direction. The ultimate goal is a sovereign nation of their own. That's not the first move, though. The first move, say it with me again, of nationality, organization. That's the first move. Without people, there is no nation. You need people moving in one direction. So nationality is a quality of character, and it's a legal status of being connected to a nation. It is what it is. That's just what it is. Nobody can argue that. They can fight it all they want, Page L. They can't argue that. And we have plenty, many examples. From the beginning of time, we have examples. Like I said, now I yell a little bit. I'm a little bit hyper, but you know what I mean? There's many examples. So that's nationality in a nutshell. You know what I'm saying? So next we're talking about race. What is race? The dictionary of old would define race, and I'm a paraphrase. Dictionary would define race relating to an original origin of man or humankind. And I'm just paraphrasing, which I can back it up if somebody want to test me, no problem. And I'm just paraphrasing the definition. So what race is really about, outside of how the European did, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, what race is really about is, where did you originate? Where did your kind originate? Where did your kind originate? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What that mean is, if you say, and the planet will agree with you, that the Garden of Eden is, if the Garden of Eden, if all of these religious people, Christian, Moors, Muslim, if you are Christian and you believe that the Garden of Eden is in the geographical location of the Bible, then you would believe that the Garden of Eden is in Asia. Is that right? Of course that's right. According to the Bible. If you are Muslim and you believe that the Garden of Eden, according to the Quran of Mecca, that the Garden of Eden is in Mecca, once again, that would be Asia. So now, how do you determine your race? The race is determined by the original specimen of a kind. Break this down a little bit simpler. If man first came out of the dust of Asia, that would determine his race. Asiatic. This was the case for a long time. What happened is, those in power have the power to change things around a little bit. And so what the European did, if anybody is over 40 and they paid attention in school and wasn't blowing spitballs and playing and bullying people, I was doing that sometime. But anyway, if we paid attention in history class, we would remember that the teacher in most schools would say, this is Asia, this is Asia Minor, and this is Eurasia. They was naming the whole planet Asia right before our face. Y'all don't remember them old teachings? They would say, this is Eurasia, this is Asia Minor, and this is Asia. Because the original planet Earth name was consistent with the sound as we say Asia today. We speak English, but as our assistant Grand Sheik loved to point out, is that languages are variations of sounds that are ancient. So I'll give an example of that. When you look at the term, this is Moorish science. Whoa. When you look at the name Jesus, many people would say that Jesus didn't exist because the J didn't come into the alphabet until the 14th century. Anybody heard that one before? Many people would say that. And you're correct. But one thing you didn't pay attention to, throughout all the East, nobody knew Jesus' name as Jesus before the coming of the European. Jesus' name was known throughout the Mediterranean in the East as Isa. Not Yosha, none of that. That's a Johnny come lately too. That's a later interpretation. And in the old days, he was known in India as Isa. He was known in what we would call the Middle East today as Isa. He was known all throughout the Mediterranean world as Isa. Now watch me. Mama said the sounds and the words today has connection, but we change them up in time. This is why somebody from down south sounds a little different from somebody up north. Somebody in the Midwest sounds different from somebody way out west. We saying the same thing, but we say it a little different way. And as time goes along, we'll change the spelling, if you will, when we hit the English rendition of the word sound. Now, take the term Isa. Some people would say ISA, and clearly that's Isa. But when the Greeks took it, understand, when the Greeks took it, that I changed into the E, the Greek letter. It still had the word sound, Isa, Isa, Isa. Listen to me, Isa. It still had the word sound. Once it was rendered into the Latin and then the English, they added to the J because the J had the his sound. He, Hesu, Hesu. But the word spell is still Hisa. And so when you drop the J and you look at the E-S-U-S, it still have the real vibration of Isus. Isus. It depends what geographical location that you were in of how you will pronunciate or enunciate it. But when the J came to a complete English rendition, that heh, that was in Latin, J, heh, heh, Jesu, who God? Who God? They spell that with a J. In Spanish, the J is heh, heh, heh. But once it renders into complete English, that heh becomes J. You see?
Okay.
That heh becomes J. Ask anybody who speaks Spanish. Ask anybody who speaks Spanish. And Spanish is just a rendition of Johnny come lately of Moorish Latin. But that's another history lesson. Good goodness, Prophet Noble Ali mean. He serves with these lessons. So the point that I'm making with the term Asia, and we use it in the English rendition today, it's consistent with the original word sound of the original name of Earth, Asa. You see? So if you come from the original inhabitants and was pulled out the dust of the ground, of Asia, which we would say today Asia, that would make the original creation, their race, the beginning of a thing. Let's race. Are you marked? Get set, ready. The beginning of a thing, go. That will make your race Asiatic. The original. Now, how do we qualify that with the Prophet Noble Drew Ali? The way that we qualify that with the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is there's two things you have to remember when studying the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. You have to remember context. And you have to remember the audience that he's talking to. So in context, Prophet Noble Drew Ali always use terminologies that's consistent with Moorish vernacular. He never wavered. He never called anybody black. He never called anybody so-called black. He never called anybody so-called Negro. He never wavered. He always said Moors, good Moors, or Moorish American, or Asiatics. He never wavered. Never, not once. Now, we do it, so-called black people, we do it. You know what I mean? We got to work on it. We're going to get right. But he never wavered. This is how we know that Prophet Noble Drew Ali standard is what it is. You know what I mean? Because he never wavered. Wherever you hear a writing, he say Moors, all my good Moors. And he used terms like Moors, Muslims, but he never ever wavered. Why do I say that? Because when you look at nationality, he tells you what it is. He tells you what it is. He said, you must proclaim your nationality. What is his nationality? Moorish American. What is your nationality? Moorish American. Stop right there. This is a lesson for young Moorish Americans coming through the door, or those who are interested, or those who have disagreed with me. Listen to the lesson. You might don't understand why he says you're a Moorish American, but your journey should be to discover why he uses the term Moorish American. That should be your journey. Why is it? Now, let me tell you something. One of the most fascinating things you can do with the mind, is challenge it. Challenge it. If you determine that Prophet Noble Drew Ali is a prophet of God, one of the things you want to do, and I don't want people to get, we get this religious connotation. Soon somebody say God, we go right back to the state of mind of hooping and hollering, dancing, playing organs. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you had determined that Prophet Noble Drew Ali, you follow me? If you determined that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was sent from the Creator, sent from Allah, sent from God, then you have to take his words as golden. In other words, you may not understand it, but it's up to you to work towards, to unfold it, unpack it. So he says, what's his nationality? Moorish American. What is your nationality? Moorish American. That's enough. Figure it out. If you don't figure it out, join the temple of somebody responsible that can break it down to you. Because you're descendants of Moroccans and born in America. That didn't say descendants of Morocco. No, he didn't say that. He didn't say descendant of Morocco. So you got to kill that. He said descendants of Moroccans and born in America. What are Moroccans? What Moroccans is he referring to? And can we stand on it? I'm not going to go too deep in that, but he's talking about the indigenous people of northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa, the dark olive people, the people that was so dark, so and I don't want to use the term dark because y'all brain go right to Christianity with that one and go right to misinformation. They was so pretty beautiful, oil complexion, that they begin to call them blacker Moors. That's what they were, the original inhabitants. Those were the Moroccans. The Moroccan state came later. And the Prophet Noble Drew Ali using the term Moroccan to get you to a geographical location. Because if you pay attention, he gives you three different terminologies. He says the Moors are descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. So he put the Moabites in northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. He said, what's your nationality, Moorish American? What is his nationality, Moorish American? Why? Because we're descendants of Moroccans and born in America. So he's giving you remember back in the day that you had to connect the dots to make a picture? He's giving you the geographical location of the day. Descendants of Moroccans, get you right into North Africa. Descendants of ancient Moabites, he gets you right there that the time before Moroccans. And then he used the term Moorish, which connects you to the original inhabitants of the Moorish tribe, which brings us to ethnicity. Whether people understand it or not, ethnicity relates to your tribe affiliation. Ethnicity and tribe are interchangeable. People don't understand about the Moorish Science Temple of America and Moorish thought that nationality is Moorish American. It's all interconnected. Asiatic is your race. Your ethnicity is more. This is why Prophet Noble Drew Ali used more so many times next to Moorish American and Asiatic. This is why he used it so many times. Because more is an ethnic term. Now, let's interchange ethnic with tribal term. The term M-O-O-R was born out of the word M-A-U-R from the Moorish tribe. Now, let me bring it all home to you. Prophet Noble Drew Ali is amazing. He was born in the state of North Carolina, 1886. I wouldn't know this if I didn't study his works. I wouldn't know this. They didn't teach me this in school. But let's make sense out of it. The Moorish tribe was found to be settling in North Africa, and the tribe extended and controlled Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, which is now Morocco, what now is Morocco, all the way down to Mauritania. That when you look on the African map, it's a little bit going towards the middle of Northwest Africa. But that is just the shrunk version. Before the shrunk version, Mauritania extended all the way north. It extended all the way north and even covered some parts of Nigeria. That was the Moorish tribe's territory. It covered parts of Algeria. You get an old map and you can see it. So when Herodotus, let's not even go to Herodotus. Somebody say the kingdom of Mauritania was founded in 225 BC. We got to stop allowing the European to give us a history lesson. The European came upon it in that era of time. We could talk about that another time. But the birth record of the Moorish tribe is not calculated by Europeans. We got to stop that. When they came to the shores, they say the inhabitants called themselves Maori. And then they mark history from the first contact. That doesn't mean that's when they first established themselves. We got to stop that and be careful about that. So Maori is the tribal name. Maori is the ethnic group. Not only is Maori is an ethnic group, but also you got the Fulani. You also got the Igbo. And you got a bunch of the Israelite family too that have migrated from east into the west. So when people say the Moors and Hebrews are brothers, you 1,000% correct. Because when the walls of Jericho went down, many people that was of Hebrew, Israelite blood, Canaanite blood, they fled to the west. And they begin to intermingle with the Moors or the Moabites who had already migrated there. So the point that I'm making is this. When you look at ethnic groups, what you're really looking at in the purest form, tribal designations. So Prophet Noble Ali makes a statement. He said, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality. And we're teaching our people their nationality in their divine creed. Divine creed takes you back to divinity. Let's not forget that. It takes you back to divinity, to God. We teaching our people their nationality in their divine creed, saying that we come from God. Do we believe it or not? It's up to you. Teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, know that they are not Negro, colorful black people, or Ethiopians. Because these names were given to slaves, listen to this, by slaveholders in 1779 and lasting until 1865. Now, this is the bomb drop. Flex drop a bomb. 1865 during the time of slavery. Then the big thing comes in. But this is a new era of time now. And all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live in the nations of the earth. Stop right there. He said all men must recognize their free national name, must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the nation in which they live in the government of the earth. Now, stop right there. He said, proclaim your free national name. Why? Because many of us, up until that time, had been caught up in tribalism. This tribe warring with that tribe. This is what the European used against us. This tribe warring with that tribe. That tribe warring with this tribe. That tribe over in Africa, the Igbo warring with the Fulani. The Maori warring with this people. They was attached to tribal names. And there's nothing wrong with being attached to tribal names. But while we was warring with tribal identities and tribal territories, the world was moving forward into a nation-state paradigm. The world was moving into a nation-state paradigm. What is that? Oh, they're going to be mad at me now. A nation-state paradigm is when every territory that was tribal territory either expanded, doubled up, and became a nation-state, or they were dissolved by one next to it that became a nation-state. So America is a nation-state. Nigeria is a nation-state. China is a nation-state. Russia, on and on and on. These countries are nation-states. So wherever there were tribes, now became nation-states. And so while the Moors, as well as the indigenous people of Africa and the Americas, they was warring over tribal issues, the world had moved on into a nation-state principle. And so now wherever you go around the world, there is nations, states, and they govern themselves idealistically the same way. But where did they get that from? The first pure governing system that people can take back is most likely, what's the M word? Somebody get me. I'll think of it in a minute. I'm trying to think of the old kingdom, the old civilization. I can't think of it right now, but I get it in a minute. But our governing system was the first governing system. They adopted that from us. They took our tribal governing system and turned it into nation states. You follow what I'm saying? Mesopotamia.
Mhm.
That's what I'm talking about, Mesopotamia. They took our tribal governing system and they made nation states. Develop out of the empire state concept. So you had the Roman Empire, you had the Moroccan Empire, you had the dynastic period. All of these are consistent and similar, but it all came from our forefathers. You follow me? So now let's bring it back up what I'm saying. Ethnicity is relative to your tribal affiliation. So Prophet Obadiah said that this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name. In other words, you can be in the same state, the same nation state, and have a different tribe. So if you go into Nigeria, you will see the Igbo, you will see the Fulani, you will see the Ashanti. But at the end of the day, all of them are Nigerian. So it doesn't change with us. We all descendants from the inhabitants of Africa at some period of time, indigenous to these shores. My grandmother was Indian. I got Indian in my family. Mama used to say that. Anyway, we're all related or affiliated by our tribal affiliation. But because we are in a nation state era, this is a new era time now, we too must proclaim our free national name. And now it brings all of the tribes together as a collective. So a Hebrew Israelite is a tribe. They could be what? A Moorish American. A person that's indigenous can also proclaim Moorish American. No different than anybody in Nigeria of different tribes can proclaim their nationality as Nigerian, as well as hold on to their tribal affiliation. The world has moved forward and we're stuck in time. We don't want to let go our tribal affiliation. We stuck about 1,400 years ago. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I'm a Moor. Black power. Praise the Lord. Assalamu alaikum. We still stuck in our tribal state of mind. Prophet Obadiah says this is a new era of time now. So it's time for us to catch up. And we need to come together and proclaim as one. It's time for us to catch up. But everybody don't have to do it. All we need is a few good men and women who think their conditions can be better. We don't need everybody. Some people gonna be bagged anyway. So let me break it down. Nationality is one thing. Race is another. Ethnicity is another. Our ethnicity is Moor. Our nationality is Moorish American. Our race is Asiatic. Anybody watching this, y'all need to study this before you start teaching it, because if people ask you questions, if you can't put it in historical context that's consistent with the textbook as well as beyond the textbooks, you're going to look crazy. So take time and study this. Don't just repeat this as if you got it down pat. This is don't try this at home. This takes a lot of study, takes a lot of prayer, it takes a lot of meditation to try to understand what the prophet gave us. I know y'all be thinking I'm goofy, y'all be thinking I'm silly, but I took this serious. I paid my tuition. It's called sacrifice. I prayed, I meditate. I wanted to understand this stuff. How you gonna tell me some man born in North Carolina is a prophet of God? I need to know these things. So I took my time and I prayed and I studied and I researched. And one thing I want y'all to do, is when you study the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, you have to make sure that your studies are consistent with reality. Don't attach yourself to fantasy. Everything that I said to you a few minutes ago, you can rediscover that by going to a library. You might can rediscover it by going to that little computer in your hand, if you know what to put in. But in order for you to comprehend, you have to be sincere. You have to meditate. You have to pray. Because let me tell you, our brother Jesus said that to get into heaven, what's the saying he said? He said about heaven. I don't know why my brain's slipping on me right now. Little simple sayings. He said, I think about it later. Don't worry about it. I don't know what that saying is, man. The truth will set you free. You got so many of them. The truth will set you free. Oh, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else will be added unto you. In that seeking, it takes sacrifice. Seeking don't mean just opening a book and reading. Sometimes you got to read the same thing 20, 30 times before it can unfold to you. Sometimes it takes years. But you must be patient. So that was the first standing question. What is the second standing question, brother?
Here we go. What does the prophet Noble Drew Ali mean when he says, "We, as a clean and pure nation, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the European nation"?
All right. So, brother, what I want you to do real quick, the brother wants to, the brother says he wants me to ask the question, answer the question. He wants me to answer the question. Let me tell this brother I'm live.
Mm-hmm.
He wants me to answer the question of what do the prophet mean when he says we do not desire to amalgamate in the pale skin nation of Europe. I'm going to let him say it again. Let me use the restroom real quick, and I'm going to let him say it again. Talk to him, brother.
Okay. What does the prophet Noble Drew Ali mean when he said, "We, as a clean and pure nation, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the European nation"? And the reason why I asked this question is because back then a lot of it wasn't so much amalgamation going on. I know it was going on, but it wasn't going on to the extent that it is now today in 2020. So I know it's a lot of Moors out there who are married to Europeans, and I want them to actually sit down. And they're not open or might be scared to ask this question. So I wanted to put it on the agenda today just to find out what's going on. Give us the uncut, raw truth. Because through a lot of I look at it as us as a people, we fail to inform. Even though I wasn't alive back then, a lot of people, we failed to inform our brothers and sisters, and we did a lot of mixing and amalgamation. A lot of. So, what's more answer
All
to
right.
find out?
So the brother said, and I'm going to read it. Let me pull it up first. Y'all should be on the channel. Yeah, y'all should be on the channel. So the question is, what does the prophet mean when he says, we as a clean and pure nation do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the European nations? And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually pull up the actual, demonstration so I can be sure as to we reading the text right. I'm going to make sure. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. I'm about to pull it up and then I'm going to read it.
Oh, yeah. There's more of it.
I got you. We good.
Okay.
I'm going to make sure we get it right.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, so it says in verse 6, we as a clean and pure nation, descendants from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption of mankind on earth, for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Let's start with the first. When you look at the first sentence and verse number 6, it says we and a comma, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the we that we're talking about is the same we where the Prophet Noble Drew Ali says, with us. With us. The we in that Holy Quran is the same us in our divine constitution and bylaw. Members of the Moorish Temple of America. It's just not talking ambiguously about anybody. Mm-hmm. It says on Act 6, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality. And we're teaching our people. Who is our people? Those who are descendants from the inhabitants of Africa. Who is our people? The true and Canaanite blood. Who is our people? The Moabites. On and on and on. So the us, our people, speaking to us. Now, the we, people need to understand this. This is the stuff your Grand Sheik should have taught you years ago, family. It should have taught me too. I had to get it from the ether plane. We, listen to what it says. I'm going to break it down again. We, as a clean and pure nation, descended from the inhabitants of Africa. We, as a clean and pure nation, gives the vibration that when we come into the Moorish Temple of America, we become clean. We cleaned ourselves up. Our thoughts change. Our habits change. Things that was dirty no longer should take hold of us. We as a clean, we, talking about the members of the Moorish Temple of America, it's not talking about any and everybody. It's talking about the members of the Moorish Temple of America. How do we know that? Because it's in the Quran for the Moorish Temple of America. What is this Quran? This is the Holy Quran of what? The Moorish Temple of America. So this Quran is speaking to the members of what? The Moorish Temple of America. Yet anybody can adopt it and use it as a measuring stick and a guide for their life. But the Moorish American is the we. See, many people like to play around and act like it's an ambiguous statement. No, it's definitive. We as a clean and pure nation, those who have came into the understanding of being a Moorish American, we as a clean and pure nation do not desire. Your decision is made for you at that point. By who? Prophet Noble Drew Ali was divinely prepared. Your decision was made for you by God. Take it or leave it. We, as a clean and pure nation, let me rewind again. If your mind is dirty, then you ain't going to pay attention to this anyway. But if you've been working on purifying your thoughts, this pertains to you. We as a clean and pure we as a clean and pure nation, descendants from the inhabitants of Africa. That's very specific. We as a clean and pure nation, descendants for those who came up out of Africa, as we know it, do not desire. We know that desire can be a burning urge. In other words, purify your mind, work on those burning urges, and you line up with the holy and divine prophet. What the prophet is doing is he's giving you the measure to reach. He's giving you the standard, and you must work towards the standard. Many people read this in such a way like, we as a clean and pure nation do not, we ain't doing it. No, everybody is not there yet, but the standard must be met, or effort must be worked towards the standard. We as a clean and pure nation descended from the inhabitants of Africa do not desire to amalgamate. Mix doesn't mean not interact. Those are two different things. Amalgamate begins with the thought. Remember I said, if you purify your mind, you're clean, or you working towards purifying your mind, you're clean. Amalgamate doesn't mean you don't interact in same environments. Amalgamate means you don't allow your mind, your way of thinking, to mix with foreign thoughts. This is why I say I hold the standard of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I stick with the orthodoxy of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I'm not going to amalgamate my thoughts with anything that'll be counterproductive to the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I don't care who say what. So amalgamation, all actions start with a thought. You follow me? And because all actions start with a thought, let me get my phone right. And because all actions start with a thought, it's imperative that we cleanse our mind. So we as a clean and pure nation, descendants from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry. Now, amalgamate is the mixing of mind, and even marry is a mixing of thoughts. A marriage is a coming together. See, before there can be a ceremony, the thoughts must enter in the mind first. It tells us in the book in the chapter talking about John, it says that when man knows that he can be cleansed, and I'm a paraphrase, that he can be cleansed by purifying his thought, a right symbolic may be introduced. So when man know that he can purify, when women know that they can purify themselves by purifying them thoughts, a right symbolic may be introduced. So the marriage is a byproduct of the marriage that you had in your mind. So again, we as a clean and pure nation do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the pale-skinned nations of Europe. What are the pale-skinned nations of Europe? The pale-skinned nations of Europe is those who have pale skin, no melanin to the point where it's obvious where they come from. It's not racist. That'll be like going into Wichita, Kansas, where it's most Europeans at, and you want to force them to marry into our group. Most of them going to look at you like you're crazy. And most groups of people don't have a problem with maintaining their gene pool. We the only one on the planet Earth that think we're racist when we don't want to kiss another group of people in the mouth. I'll give you an example, Paige L. Y'all ever had bucha? I likes it. Anyway, I'm going to give you an example. I do a lot of work with people. I do a lot of work with foreigners, if you will. I have it throughout the years. In particular, I've done a lot of work with property management with Arab, Pakistani Muslims, people of India that practice Hinduism. And I actually became good friends with them, if there's such a thing. They would invite me to their house, and they always want to feed you. That's their culture. They always want to feed you. You know what I'm saying? They always want to feed you. Japanese people, same way. They always want to feed you. But let me tell you something. They ain't playing that looking at my daughter thing. I don't do that anyway, but you can know the vibration that's off limits. You already know that it's an unspoken language that we cool, but it stops when you dip that flatbread in that soup. We good, but don't think you spend the night.
There's gonna be another demonstration.
They not playing those games. I used to own a cleaning company, and I used to have a bunch of Spanish-speaking people from South America. You know, we always like to paint them with a vibe brush. Mexicans, they be from Venezuela. I have Mexicans working for me. They be from Argentina. I have Mexicans. But no, they were Spanish-speaking brothers and sisters from south of the border, all different countries. And I'm gonna tell you, the men would watch. I'm hiring both of them, the women and the men, sometimes even the children. But the men, they be working, but they be looking out the corner of the eye. Don't be sitting up there thinking you talking to Maria. You telling Maria something and they don't speak English, and you talking to Maria in English? Shoot. See, we're the only people that think because we're in America and we've been tricked and fooled to believe that we got to kiss people in the mouth, we got to hug up, hold hands in order not to be racist. And we go to the extreme to try to prove it that we're not. You know what I'm saying? Prophet Noble Ali said, Moorish Americans do not desire to do that. Moorish Americans do not desire to amalgamate. Moorish Americans got too much problems in their own house to confuse it and confound it with other issues. We got too many I'm telling you right now. Sister Robin said to me tonight, "You're going like she ain't said that. I had to fake it. I had to fake it to make it." She said, "What you about to do?" I got a meeting with Paige L. Hey,
Oh,
hey, Paige L.
I gotta read her.
It is a meeting, but I had to. Paige L. Listen, if I would have told her, say, yeah, we going live on YouTube and Facebook, you know what she would have said to me? Wouldn't you live earlier? Wouldn't you live earlier? And I'm saying, nah. Oh, yes, I was. My bad. But that wasn't a real live. I just was like 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I got to deal with that after this. So we got other issues to deal with. Now, I come from a situation where as though let me get this question here. I come from a situation where as though my grandmother was real light olive. Sister Robin mother is light olive. As you can see, Sister Robin is light olive. Her father is light olive. That way she get the eyes from her father. But let me tell you something. When you look at of the pale skin nation of Europe, you're able to feel the vibration. Listen to Sister Robin mother poetry. Go eat my grandmother fried chicken. I don't eat chicken no more. You know what I mean? You feel what I'm saying? You know the difference. No matter how light olive, the measure of melanin will make the difference being of something and not of something. You know. You feel what I'm saying? Many of us try to play the game and overlook it, but we know. We know. But the determination is predicated upon the levels of melanin that triggers the soul factor of a person. And you know if a person is of the pale skin nation of Europe or if they're light olive. You know. We know. We like to play games and be like, yeah, Mariah Carey is Asiatic. Okay. And we start leaning towards a European understanding of what quote unquote black is. Well, if you got 1 ounce of blood in it, you black. That was a racist thing. That wasn't scientific. Wasn't scientific. But we go with it and we run with it. Okay, that's the measure. Keep it pushing. But in reality, we know who's who. We know who's who. So it says that the Moorish American not desire to amalgamate or marry into the pale skin nation of Europe, neither serve nor serve their gods of their religion. And this should be a simple thing. If you are the original person of the planet, if you are the first one on the planet, it's only obvious that you created a religious or a spiritual system to keep you and your tribe or your nation in line. Because religion was established to show us our infirmities. Religion was established to show us our weaknesses so we can overcome the weakness and be strong and move in righteousness, or let me not use that word, and move in our God nature or our higher self. So religion was instituted to remind you that you have a weakness. Whatever that may be. That's what religion is all about. Our forefathers came up with the first religious system to remind us of our infirmities. Our people did that. How do we know? Because we was the first on the planet. Now, so it says, neither serve the gods of their religion because, do we trust our forefathers? Because our forefathers, I don't know who my forefathers was, then get off your behind and find out. Because our forefathers are the true and divine founders, listen to the words, divine founders of the first religious creed. In other words, the first religious creed always existed because to find something, it have to pre-exist. It have to already be there. So, listen. So when we start talking Islamism, we're talking about something that always been there. It predates your concepts or your conception. It always existed. And just like our forefathers are the founders, the starting point, it was there. But the new starting point, Prophet Noble Ali is the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And he's the founder of the uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. To find something, a founder, something was already there. But in this era of time, it must be rediscovered. And he's the founder of the uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So the Moorish Science Temple of America predates the inception that the prophet bought, but it predates it in principle. The Moorish Science Temple of America always exists in principle, not necessarily in name. Islam exists way before Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
This is why Abraham could be a Muslim, but never heard of Muhammad. But in the Quran, of course, it says he was a Muslim. How can he be a Muslim, but he never met Muhammad? Because it predates Muhammad. The religious creed predates all of us. It always existed. God is a God of peace. And as long as God exists, the religious creed always exists, but we must find it. Prophet Noble Ali is the founder. We look at founder from the perspective that European give us. Nah, man, we got to get away. We got to get away from these European concepts so we can get to the eternal understanding of the principle of a thing. So, question arises, and I'll go this, and we got two more questions. The question arises, can a leadership in the Moorish Science Temple of America be amalgamated with Europeans or married to the pale-skinned nation of Europe? Could a person in leadership in the Moorish Science Temple of America be married to a European? Absolutely not. The reason why, whether people like it or not, the reason why is because your loyalty becomes split. Remember, Prophet Noble Ali says, I'm glad to know that I got a few faithful Moors with me. Your faith becomes split. Because she or he don't have to proclaim their nationality. He or she do not have to adhere to Act 7. What is Act 7? Members must attend their meetings and become in line and keep in line with all necessity of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must take care of your children, obey your husband, and look after the duties of your household. She's not a Moorish American. She's not a part of this. She's not obligated to the divine creed. The divine constitution is speaking into Moorish Americans. It's just not. This is what's funny when people outside of the Moorish Science Temple of America say, oh, you violating Act 3. First thing I'm going to ask you is who your Grand Sheik? If you ain't got no Grand Sheik, you're not a part of this organization. So you can't hold me to violating Act 3. In fact, you don't even know what Act 3 stands for because you out of law by not even having a Grand Sheik and chairman. What are you talking about? You out of law. You can't look at me and say, man, to amalgamate slandering people, you violating Act 3. The first thing I'm going to say is who your Grand Sheik. I don't need no Grand Sheik. You violating that. Oh, yes, you do. Act 1 supersedes Act 3. Although they all tie in together, the Grand Sheik and chairman of the Moorish Temple of America is empowered to make law, enforce laws, and assist of the prophet in the grand body of the Moorish Temple of America. Take me to your leader. And you took it and said, I don't follow that stuff, but you violating Act 3. Get out of here. I'm going to throw it out of court. Case dismissed. Boom. Next docket. It's out of there. And so in order to subscribe to the Moorish doctrine, especially to be an official, to be a leader in the Moorish Science Temple of America, you have to line up with the doctrine completely. You understand what I'm saying, Paige L? This is not racist.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be an official. I'm not saying you can't be a member and your relationship predates your membership. No, but you couldn't be an official because even your membership can be a little bit risky because only half can line up with the divine covenant of Act 7. Only you can demonstrate Act 7. Your wife can't demonstrate it. Why? Because that document is called the Divine Constitution. The Moorish Science Temple of America, Divine Constitution and Bylaws. What is it for? For Moorish Americans. What are Moorish Americans? Asiatics. What are Asiatics? Moors. Nah. Not as an official. That it just doesn't work like that. And that doesn't make the organization racist. It just has certain requirements that must be met in order for the divine plan of the ages be fulfilled. Just what it is. You feel me? It's just what it is. It doesn't, and we got to stop allowing people to make us feel guilty by pulling the race card when we want to stand on our ancient and divine creed. We got to stop allowing people to make us feel guilty. I don't dislike no European, but I don't want to kiss them in the mouth either. I ain't trying, no. I ain't trying. Listen, I do not have no problem with any European.
Oh, man.
I really don't. But, man, I'm not mean. Listen, if I was cutting grass, if I was working on cars, working on houses, I'm going to treat the European with just as much respect as I treat my people. No more, no less. You feel what I'm saying? If I ride down the street and someone is homeless and that person happened to be a European and I feel the need to pass out a slug, that's $1 in Baltimore, or to buy somebody a sandwich whether they're European, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to say, I ain't buying no European no sandwich. Man, you crazy fool, buy the people sandwich. But I ain't going to marry your sister. So let's get to the next question, brother. What's the next one? We got 2 more, I think. What we got?
Yeah, we got one more, but this one might be a long.
No, it ain't. Tell me what you got.
Break down the resurrection of Jesus.
Ooh. My brother say, break down the resurrection of Jesus. Y'all got this? All right. Now, as I set this up, let me get to the resurrection. And I want you to, and I seriously want you, I'm not worried about our brothers and sisters because they can rewind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I really want you to tell me when I finish this, can you understand where I'm coming from? All right. Okay. All right. Now, the resurrection of Jesus. First of all, I want to read this, and people going to have to follow me. Okay, here we go. I'm about to screen share this, and I'm going to break this down. So first of all, this is what we have to understand. In order to understand the true and divine teachings, many of us have to empty our baggage. You have to take your baggage off that you've been carrying around that you believe to be factual. That's number one. I'm going to give you a minute to drop your baggage. That's number one. Now, as you drop your baggage, I want you to go into your mind and remember your Bible for a second before I get into the Quran. If you remember the story in the Bible, this is the setup. See, if y'all was in the noble temples, y'all would get this all the time on Sunday class. If you remember the story in the Bible, when Jesus was put on the cross, if we was going to research and investigate this as a real investigative reporting to find out what happened, then we have to look at the evidence. So one of the first evidence that we have to understand is that Jesus did not jump on the cross and say, kill me. He did not. Although he knew that because of what he was teaching, it could cost him his life. This is giving your life. This is giving your life as a willing sacrifice. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
This is giving your life as a willing sacrifice. Now, in giving your life, let me make sure. Let me see something real quick. Oh, my goodness. Hold up. I might got to pause.
Yeah, I was going to say, give me 1 second.
Hold up. All right, stand by. Stand by. We on pause real quick. All right. Where we at? Page L go. He in trouble. I done got him in trouble. I done talked too long. I done got Page L in trouble. Islam, what up, Sunny Boxing? We learning today, family. We learning today. So,
Here I come, more. Here I come.
so when we start talking about the resurrection, I need everybody to empty their cup. I ain't gonna tell you what happened on my end, bro. Brother Hogan, Sheik Hogan Bay said, what happened? Sis Rodman ain't got a key. I had to go open the door. Don't tell I told on her. So first of all, let's look at the evidence. The evidence is this. Jesus was convicted of a crime. The crime that he was convicted on, anybody know the crime? He was convicted for sedition. He was convicted for trying to overthrow the government. This is why Pilate washed his hands and feigned innocence, all of these things. That's a whole nother story. But now when we look at the evidence, according to the law, when a man was put on a cross, after the crucifixion, they would break the legs. And the purpose of that is just in case the crucifixion didn't kill them, they would most likely die from suffering from the pain of the crucifixion or the loss of blood. In fact, they wouldn't be able to get up and obtain assistance or help. So they broke the one man's leg, they broke the other man's leg, but they looked at Jesus and the Bible said, oh, they saw he was dead. They didn't break his legs. That's one clue. The second clue is that Joseph of Arimathea, who was a friend of Pilate, who had a tomb that no one had ever been buried in, was able to claim the body, quote unquote, of Jesus. And Joseph placed the body in his tomb that was hewed out of a fresh stone. That means there was no dead body ever in there. That's another clue. Then you have the pounds, 100 pounds of myrrh and 100 pounds of aloe. And we know that aloe has healing properties as well as numbing properties, raw aloe. And the myrrh is ritualistic, as well as it might even have some healing properties. You would have to get with Brother Akhenaten, but I'm sure it does. So they bring all of those pounds of myrrh and aloe there, and they wrap them in the cloth and they put them in a tomb. Now, according to the Bible, when the resurrection happens, Jesus, now, according to the Bible, it just tells us that he was there for 3 days. It doesn't tell us what happened in the tomb. It just says he was there for 3 days, but it never tells us what actually happened in the tomb. So when Jesus supposedly resurrect, as they like to say, he came out of the tomb because the stone was rolled away. But when he came out of the tomb, no one, according to the Bible, seen him leave the tomb. So Mary Magdalene and the disciples that had stuck around assumed that somebody had stole the body of Jesus. Let's look at this in real time. They look and like, man, where the body? Somebody took the body. But in the Bible, it says they seen his burial gown folded in one position. They seen his head napkin in another place. So while Mary is kneeled down looking for Jesus, in the distance, she hears Rabboni. No, she's crying. Pardon me. She's crying. Somebody stole my master. Somebody stole my Lord. She tells Peter to run, tell somebody. Somebody stole my Lord. And in the distance, she hears woman. She turns and look. And the Bible said she's thinking it to be the gardener. She say, is it you that stole my Lord? Or stole the body of the Lord? She look at him to be the gardener. Another clue. He looked at her and said, woman. She said, Rabboni, Rabboni. She ran to him to hug him. He said, touch me not, for I have not ascended unto the Father. But go and tell them that I have ascended unto my God and your God. Stop right there. That may sound like a contradiction to an untrained mind. He said, this is what he says in the Bible. He said, stop, touch me not. Why would he say that? Because he was still in pain. He was still in pain from the abuse that he suffered during the crucifixion. He said, touch me not. If you get shot 7 times and I run in to hug you, you'll be, oh, Mo, Islam. I'm still wounded. So he says, touch me not, for I not ascended unto my Father. But go and tell that I ascended to my God and your God. It's a twofold statement. And I'm going to teach you about that right now. So when you go into the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, let me screen share this real quick. Now we talks about one second. It says that two things that we have to pay attention to. And I'm going to share this one right here. One of the things we have to pay attention to is this, very important. It says that there is a holy ministry in death. The essence of the body cannot be quickened by the holy breath until the fixed is solved. The body must disintegrate, and this is death. What does this mean? It says there's a holy ministry in death. The essence of the body. What is the essence of the body? Remember, the Prophet Noble taught us. He says that in all the world, the one is truth, the other is falsehood. But in the light of art becomes naught, and the law is all. Are you walking with me?
Mm-hmm.
In all the world, the one is truth, the other is falsehood. But in the light of art, truth becomes naught, and the law is all. All things on the manifest are of God. Let's stop right there. Everything that you see is a manifestation of the power of God from the force.
Mm-hmm.
Even your physical body that we like to demonize is of God. It says that the fix must be solved. What is the fix? I'm about to break it down to you. The body has an energy of its own. This is why when a person, quote unquote, supposedly dies, that hair can still grow from the body. This is why when a person, quote unquote, die, that it takes time for the body to start to rot because it's still living. It's still a living organism. The life source that inhabited is gone, but there's still energy in the body. So Jesus, and in our record it says, there's a holy ministry in the death. The essence of the body cannot be quickened by the holy breath until the fix is solved. The body must disintegrate, and this is death. What is disintegrate? Disintegrate means to be broken down in particles. The body must be understood from the principle of what it's made of. The body must disintegrate. The body must separate itself from what makes it murky in the first place. But that is done by the mind seeing the full components of the body. This is why the Prophet Noble teaches Moors that you must know of your higher self and your lower self. He don't say you just must know of your higher self. He say, and your lower self. You must know of your higher self and your lower self, because the lower self must be known just as well as the higher self. The physical self must be known just as your higher self that we call the spirit. So it says the body must disintegrate. The body must be broken down and understood. The energy of the body must be cleansed. Listen to what it say. The body must disintegrate and be quickened. The essence of the body cannot be quickened by the holy breath until the fix is solved. The body must disintegrate, and this is death. But remember, there's a holy ministry in death, and this is death. And then upon the pliant substance, Allah breathes, and then upon the pliant substance, Allah breathes. So again, it's once it's broken down, then upon the broken down particles, Allah breathes. Listen to this. If I can illustrate a little bit. Think about confetti for a second. When you have a piece of paper, it says that the body, give me 1 second. It says that the fix is solved. The body must disintegrate. Let me break this down. The body must disintegrate. The body must be broken down in particles. Remember, everything starts with a thought. And all of this is done in the mind. Man is mind. Remember, we're talking about the resurrection. I want you to walk with me because it's complicated to explain, but walk with me. So now it's broken down in parts. And it says that upon these pliant substances, Allah breathes, just as he breathed upon the chaos of the deep when the world was formed. Truth, understanding must be understood from the perspective of what is this that we're looking at? And once you understand what you're looking at, you energize it and it comes back together. And so it says that, and then upon these pliant substance, Allah breathed, just as he breathed upon the chaos of the deep. This is chaos. Allah breathed. We're talking about thought here. Understanding what you are composed of. When you understand what you are composed of, when you understand the energy that is composed into the body, now you can control it and raise it to a higher tone. So this using the terminology that the essence of the body cannot be quickened until the fix is solved. We're talking about the fix. The body must disintegrate. We must break it down to understand and bring it all back together so we can harness the power of the flesh. and coincided with the power of the Spirit. So it says, upon these pliant substance, a law breathes, just as he breathed on the chaos of the deep when the worlds was formed. And life springs forth from death. And life springs forth from death. Life is putting it all in its proper place. We have been living from a fleshly perspective, from a murky perspective. We have to break it all down, see what it is, and put the energy back in its proper place. And then we can utilize the energy for our elevation and our advancement, because we'll become in tune. So it says, and life springs forth from death. The carnal form is changed to form divine. What does that mean? Again, we break it down in particles, disintegrate it. We look at it for what it is. And thought is the cause where we put our thought energy to coincide with the energy of the flesh, and we raise it to a higher tone, and the flesh becomes flesh divine. There is nothing on earth that God made or created that's not from God. So we must bring it back in tune with God. See, Christianity has taught us that the flesh is bad. And even in the Moorish Science Temple of America, we are taught that, man, that's the lower self. Man, by many ties am I bound. When in fact, the energy of the flesh can become a propeller to the development of the spirit. Like a propeller on the boat. You got the energy of the spirit, the energy of the soul, and now you got the energy of the flesh, all coinciding with each other to unfold you into your God self completely. And so that's why Jesus says that flesh divine. When the flesh is raised to a higher tone, let me read it. It says, the will of man, let me say it, I'm going to screen share this one. It said, and then upon these pliant substance, a law breathes. Breathe is just truth, thought, pure thought. We only use the term breathe because we can relate to breathe in that given life process. Right. But in reality, breathe represents a pure thought, a pure energized thought.
You get some static. You hear that?
Yeah, what's that?
I don't know what that is.
Let me see. Check. Check. The world they playing on my thing. Check. What in the world going on here? Check. Hold up. Let me see something. Check. Oh, that's coming back from yours. Are you playing me back? Can you hear me? All right, as long as you can hear me, I think that's coming back from yours. Some feedback coming back. I don't know how. I don't get it. You know what I mean? So hold on 1 second. Here we go. Where we at? Let me stop the screen share and get back with it real quick. All right. Check. Yeah, that's feedback on your end for some reason. I don't know why, but that's all right. I'm gonna just mute your mic real quick. We all right. I'm almost done. Let me screen share this real quick, because I want to get this out. I want to show you something. This is where the Nation of Islam got the God body degree at. So what it says is, it says, the will of man makes possible the action of the holy breath. In other words, you must exert your will in order to rise above the gravitational pull of the physical self, and you must reverse it so it won't be a gravitational pull as an anchor, but it be a propeller to help you rise. See, when we come into the world and we are taught that we are born in sin, we already start with a handicap, because at the birth level of this human drama, we already start with a handicap because we believe that we are born evil, when that's not the case. Everything that God created was good because everything came from God, and he said it was good. And if it came from God, it's good. But now the gravitational pull of the flesh is only a natural thing because the flesh is of the earth, and all things seek to return to the source of which it came. And so the flesh seeks to reconnect with the earth beneath its feet in such a way that we would call death, when in fact the earth is just alive, just like you are. So if you can connect to the earth and grab the energy because you think in life, not death, now the earth becomes your friend. Now the flesh becomes your friend. Now the flesh gives you extra charge connected to the soul that has been extra charged, connected to the spirit that's always been charged. And it says, and life, 39 says, and life springs forth from death. The carnal form is changed to form divine. The will of man make possible the action of the holy breath. When the will of man and the will of Allah is one, the resurrection is a fact. The resurrection is a fact when your will is in tune with the universal working of things. We use the term Allah, but all it is saying is when your will is in its natural state of its creation, nothing can penetrate you and make you believe that death is real. Now, listen to this. The will of man makes possible the action of the holy breath. When the will of man and the law of one, the resurrection is a fact. Listen to what it says. In this we have the chemistry, notice the chemistry of mortal life. The chemistry of mortal life brings us back to these pliant substance. The chemistry of mortal life brings us back to the substance of the body. We need to understand the chemistry of what we're made of. In this, we have the chemistry, the coming together of mortal life, not mortal death, of mortal life. The energy of the body becomes of a higher tone. We have the chemistry of mortal life and the ministry of death and the mystery of the ethic life. The chemistry of mortal life is bringing back together in the purest form the essence of what the body is, not what has been projected to you. The ministry of death is being able to break it all down, lay it all down. Remember, Jesus said, I can lay it down and pick it back up. I can lay it down and pick it back up. He said that in the Bible. The ministry of death and the mystery of the ethic life. Jesus go on to say, my human life was wholly given to bring me in tune with the ethic will. When this was done, my earth task was done. You get it? So the point of the matter is, the resurrection of Jesus is the resurrection of us all. Understanding that this body is not our enemy. The energy of our body can help propel us into unfolding into our God self. The soul energy can help propel us into our God self, into the ethic life. The body is just as essential to your journey as your spirit is, as your soul is, simply because the universal creator or the founder or the producer or the creator of all elements. Man has demonized the body. Man has demonized the earth. Man has demonized those things that's necessary for you to come into your true self. And long as you can't come into your true self, you can be manipulated and controlled. Now, the objective is to understand that the body ain't evil. The objective is to understand that the soul is not evil. The soul is not to be stuck in hell. To understand these things. Now, the work for a mastermind is to make sure that the murky ethers of the flesh do not anchor them down. And if it does have a strong force or power over you, at least you know the standard that the same thing that can bring you harm can also bring you solution. But you must, here we go, Page L, in closing, you must activate it with holy breath. And what other name do we give truth?
Truth is art. Art is Allah. Oh, truth, holy breath.
Truth is the holy breath.
Yeah, truth.
The only way
truth.
that you can reverse,
Truth.
the only way that you can reverse the anchors that bound you down, the only way that you can reverse it is unadulterated, pure truth. This is why I don't accept lies, no way, shape, or form. Can I measure up to the truth that I know? Not at this time. Am I working towards it? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But at least I know the standard. Once I know the standard, I can work towards it. If I don't know the standard, there's no way I can work towards it. You see? So this is why I don't accept lies, no way, shape, or form. You can't lie to me about anything. I'm not accepting it. I'm not digesting it. Because the only thing that can quicken the flesh, only thing that can quicken the soul, just one thing: truth. Truth. No lie can enter into your heart. No lie. If you want to rise into your true self that we were all destined to rise into, no lies can enter into your chamber. You can't accept it.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot accept it, no way, shape, or form. The moment that you accept any lie, whether you know it or not, the soul knows it. The soul is going to digest it. The soul knows that this is not something that's going to propel you upward. The soul knows. The soul going to take that lie and go on a journey to discover it. Because discovery is her delight.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to try to figure that lie out. Any lie that you put into your heart, of your mind, into your chamber, the soul is going to figure this out. You put this in here, let me see what this about. So I don't accept no lie, Page L. None. When it comes to Prophet Noble Drew Ali, this is why I'm orthodox with it. Because I believe, have faith, and has confidence that we can resurrect into our God self. That we can become the Jesus, that we can become the Muhammad, that we become the image of Allah. That's Islamism. That we can become the flesh and blood of Allah. Did you hear what I say?
Yes.
This is how the flesh and blood of Allah becomes reality. Because you are fully charged into higher self. Mind, body, and soul is all higher self, vibrating at a higher rate. Man, good goodness and gracious.
That got you hyped there.
Brother, let me tell you something. That's holy breath.
Yeah.
That's holy breath, bro. I tell you, if I go any longer, I might cry. I might cry, Page L. Man, listen. I say this and I'll let you close us out. Man, there is not a prophet on the face of the earth that taught us this in public more. Not one.
Mm-hmm.
There's not one person since the time of the prophet that taught what I just taught that I know of in public more. I've been around for a long time more.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember one sheik, one adapt, one divine minister stepped over the podium and broke this down just the way I did this right here. Many other people may have, but I haven't. Many people hide these things and say that's adapt degrees. Somebody said, let me ask this question. Somebody said, but you gotta go through the chamber. Brother, stop that, Jackson Bay. Adapts are born, not made. You cannot go through no ritual and be something. Once something is there, a right symbolic must be introduced. But it has to exist before the chamber. Ain't that what our records say? The adapt chamber can make you understand this. You have to purify your thoughts. You have to understand this from the ether plane in which it comes. No man can teach you this. Only I can bring to remembrance that which is already in you. That's all I can do. I can't teach Page L this. Page L have to remember, because he got a soul that is of all truth. He got to sit back and say, that makes sense. Because he remembers.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we have to bring into remembrance. See, these old Moors, these old sheiks think they're teaching somebody something. You can't teach nobody anything. You can only bring out that which is already in. That's what a true adapt understands. This is why when some people go through the chamber and they walk away, and some people join the temple, they come and go, because that which you thought you taught them, you didn't teach them nothing. They have to already have it in them. That's right, Jackson Bay. I'm talking about the chamber within. Islam, Jackson Bay. They have to have it in them, and you must draw it out. You can help them to draw it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. This is why people will come and go. This is why. Because the level of understanding where they're at don't allow them to go any further than what they have in them.
Mm.
True teachers, true adapts, true magi's understand this. So they don't cry, they don't get upset when people turn and go backwards. That's about far as it's like somebody taking a ride. It's about far as I can take you. But it's on them though. Their ethers are not able to rise. And so they are going to walk with you as far as they can go. Then they got to get off. Now, those who are destined to unfold to a higher level, y'all going to walk together in this journey and most likely the next. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Anything you want to say in closing, Page? Did I say anything confuse you? Do I need to clear anything up?
No, you broke it down. I'm gonna have to go back and just digest. It was so much, right? It was like, man, you gotta go back there. Like you can listen, and it's like, but you say something, you like, man, your mind wandering over here, like, whoa, brother just dropping stuff on me. Hold on, let me digest it a little bit. Let me.
Hogan Bay said, yes, stop. It's not Brother Hogan Bay. That's my brother Sheik Hogan Bay. Hey, Brother Sheik, let me say this to Brother Sheik Hogan Bay. I've told Brother Hogan Bay a year ago or more, I said, brother, we about to get up into these lessons soon. I say all this he and I mean no more, you can remember more. We're gonna flip it. And then my brother Page L comes forth. And like, I got some questions. And here we go.
Yeah, because this one right here, I've been waiting for years. Like, I didn't see, don't nobody ever demonstrate, never touch on it. So I say, well, look, you know what? I'm going to ask the brother. I'm going to see what his demonstration is. Let me see somebody demonstrate on this measure.
Justice. Yeah, and let me say this, Brother Page L. You know and I know, look, more I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
More, I love to teach the prophet's lesson. I love to teach the prophet's lessons because it's done so much for me. You know what I'm saying? I was a fool. I was a good fool, man. I was a perfectionist when it comes to being a fool. You know what I'm saying? Man will gain perfection. I had gained perfection in foolery. I did. I mean, I called my mother. She'd tell you I had gained perfection in foolery. And so just to see the power of the lessons work within me, not for a pat on the back, but to really see it work in me, man, what I look like talking about, oh, this adapt, I can't talk about that. Man, I'm going to give you everything that I got. Because guess what, Page L? At the end of the day, what look like I want you in the temple with me, you's a fool and not supposed to be intelligent. I need all smart people around me.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I need all smart, all intelligent, all wise people around me. I don't need no idiots around me. And I'm using the term idiot. I'm just saying I just don't need someone around me that don't have the same mentality that I have. I'm trying to strive to my God self. Why do I want somebody trying to strive to look up the sister dress next to him? Islam, or here they go, Page L. Islam. What the prophet said. I don't need him around me. He talk crazy. Islam, boy. But close us out, boy. Anything else, boy? We good?
Yeah, we good until we tune back in.
All right.
I got like this was that last question was a lot, and I gotta digest this video a couple times, do some more writing.
Let me tell you something. We can do a part 2. You know what I mean? We can do a part 2.
Okay.
Because we can talk about how it says that Jesus was in the tomb and the soul was manifest, but it was in the unmanifest, something like that. Let me see. Let me pull it up. Let me show you something. Let me pull it up real quick. Islam on Thompson. L. Hold up. Okay, it says, hold up, what the? Look, it says there, now Jesus did not sleep within the tomb. The body is manifest of soul, but soul is without its manifest. And in the realms of soul, unmanifest, the Lord went and taught. Again,
Where you at?
body, this is verse 15 from chapter 18.
Okay.
Verse 15 from chapter 18. Now Jesus did not sleep within the tomb. The body is manifest of soul, but the soul is without it manifest. And in the realm of souls, unmanifest, the Lord went forth and taught. That's heavy.
Yeah.
That lends itself to the power of the soul to overcome the body, to keep the body ignited while it heals. Mama, he took a beating. The power of the soul is able to heal the injuries of the body. You are full of electrons, neutrons, and protons. All of this is energy. And this energy has healing qualities to it. So the beating that he took in and on that cross, it had to be rectified. They didn't kill him physically, but it had to be rectified. The energy of the soul has the power to heal. Now that's a little bit deep, and I hope I ain't getting spooky with you. But energy is healing. All sorts of energy. No, and I didn't say the spirit. I said the energy of the soul. The energy of the soul has healing properties. The same energy that drives you to go left, your soul urges, the same energy that drives me to go right, that's the soul. Let me say this before I go, brother. Ali say, man will suffer many things on the plane of things manifest. Many people think that the plane of things manifest is a place of meats and browns. They think it's earth. When in fact, plane of things manifest is a state of mind. So in other words, you're going to have challenges that is relative to the plane of manifest. These challenges is relative to the murky ethers of the flesh, but really have nothing to do with the flesh. It all got to do with the way of thinking. So it said, once you get over the way of thinking from fleshly things, from the murky ether of the flesh, all of that would be done. Then you move on to the plane of soul. People think that's a place of meats and bounds. I'm pretty sure you have heard many people that say, oh yeah, Mo such and such died. He gone to the plane of soul. When the prophet in our Quran tells us that it's not a place of meats and bounds. I mean, heaven, earth, and hell is not above, around, below, but within. You see? And so the plane of soul is just the ether of the spirit plane vibrating not so fast. It's a way of thinking. But what is the soul way of thinking? What is the energy of the soul plane? This is what people don't know how to break down, but they need to join a true Moorish science temple of America to break these down. So you know what energies come from the manifest. You know what energies come from the soul, and you know what energies come from the spirit. You know what thoughts, because energy is thought, thought is energy. What is the thoughts of the flesh? What is the thoughts in your mind? Are they yours? Did they enter in? Where did they come from? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where did they come from? Is they yours? Is all your thoughts yours? No, some of them we have energy. And the body has energy of its own. The spirit, the soul, all of that. The point that I'm making is people think the plane of flames made manifest is a place. People think that the plane of soul is a place, and they think that the spirit plane is another place. When in fact, these are states of mind. So when we can overcome one, we advance to the next. If we overcome the thought of the murky ethers of the flesh, is only thought. It's a way of thinking. We overcome that anchor us down. Then we advance to the plane of soul, where we have more challenges. But that's a different way of thinking. Then these energies become one. And the resurrection becomes a fact. So there's energy in the soul. But that's a deeper conversation we can have on the next go around. Just think of the question. Islam?
All right, Islam.
All right. And tell your wife, sometimes I just talk too much. I'm going to apologize now.
Yeah, the loud guy.
Islam, family.
Islam. Peace, more.
Appreciate y'all on our Facebook.